Okay, we're gonna do something different. We're gonna do, maybe, let's do this. While we wait for everybody to come in here. Let's see here. You guys want to hear a song while everybody gets in here? We'll do that. Weekend Live, what's up, everybody? If you are not watching live, you are watching the replay if I left it up. Charles, what's up, man? We're going to play a little bit of music while we get more people in here. How's it going, everybody? Don't worry, I won't let the whole song play out. We'll get some people in here and then we'll start talking. It's Weekend Live. I'm in the truck. Feels good to be back to work. Drinking my Bubbly. This one's got caffeine in it. All right. Get some more people in here and then we'll begin. This is the intro music, right? And then, you know, you never know who might pop up. Yeah. We're only going to get 11 people in here. Oh, that's right. Trucker's Coach is live. The one that everybody's obsessed in. Yeah, I can see your comments, Big Houston. Alright. That's a good stopping point. What is up, everybody? It is Saturday night. It is 9/11, 20th anniversary of the beginning of the end of the country, but we won't talk about that. We have, let's turn that off. We can talk about 9/11 if you want. We can talk about trucking stuff. We can talk about music. We can talk about whatever you want. We can even talk about other YouTubers if that's what tickles your fancy. But I think most people in here don't care. What is up? We are looking at a nice sunset near northern Mexico. And I haven't been down here in a long time. Look at that, Charles, $9.99. Look at that red chicken. You got $10. I ain't got it, and you're gonna get 7 of it. Ha! All right. Let's see. Let's do our shout outs. Charles is number 1. He's the number 1 fan of the evening. Anthony Bressler, Big Houston, Don Shonger, RN Ogar. What's up, brother? Scott SRO, Eddie. I am on the grind. Nittany Lion. Relax for bed, Charles. Well, I'll be sure to try to put you to sleep there, Charles. Let's see. You're leaving tomorrow to go to Florida. Have fun with that, Clyde. Good evening. Something. Talkaholic. Eating their hand. You loading or what? I we can talk about what I'm doing load wise here in a second. Finished working on the APU again. Scott does not recommend the Dynasis APU, by the way. Let's see. Your phone is being weird, Big Houston. Sometimes you got to hit that button up top and hit live chat. Let's see. Instead of just top chat, Red Chicken. TJ Jones loves Red Chicken. TK, what's up? I see that you changed your name back. How you like the bubbly with caffeine? It's pretty good. The only problem with it is drinking it at night. I like having something fizzy while I eat dinner. And, of course, I don't drink soda. And buying the stuff with caffeine, I was like, oh, this looks cool. And not thinking that probably shouldn't have caffeine right before bed. Cluster Trucker, what's up? Pale Rider TV, it's about time you show up. Spooby, what's up? Spooby, thanks for your help this morning. I ended up booking a load, and I just headed to the truck stop, which is 90% empty because there's so much construction around it. I had trouble getting to it, so that was kind of annoying. You love Snorelord too, good deal. My APU is giving me high discharge pressure warning. I'm going to have to clean that condenser when I get home and check my belts. APUs, man. What's interesting about APUs is that they're $10,000 machines, no matter what brand you buy. And with all the problems that they give you, unless fuel is really high, they really wouldn't be worth it except for the whole DPF crap, the DEF thing and all that. If you could idle these trucks, these newer trucks, without risk of destroying the DEF system, I don't know if I would. Well, I like my Carrier, but I don't know if the money I've put into APUs would be worth it. I tell people to go new instead of used. I know, Spooby, you got yours brand new with your truck. But I know most people have problems, especially with Thermal Kings and Dynasis. I don't know much about green APU, and the Carrier, knock on wood, has been decent. GNC Family Trucking, good evening. So what do you guys want to talk about? We can talk about a few things. We can talk about how my week went. I was going to start doing that before my last live feed was interrupted. Well, no, I did a live feed. I guess it was Thursday night, and that went along. But I think I made that unlisted. So, and you'll have to forgive me why I do that. Oh, turn that down. So, but it's warm out here where I'm at. Coachy Coach or Snorelord? Let's say this, okay? I watch a YouTuber spend about, I don't know, an hour talking about Coach. I have never seen, other than Red Viking Trucker, I've never seen somebody become everybody's punching bag to the level that Trucker's Coach is at. I mean, you want to talk about being the punching bag of all the trucking YouTubers. It's fascinating the obsession that people have in him. Everybody talks about him. We can't seem to go one live feed without somebody mentioning his name. Now, that's why he has 30 some odd thousand subscribers and over 200 people in his chat most times. So he's doing something right. So you guys can give him crap for all the other trucking stuff or whatever you want. But he's making more money than me on the YouTube front, that's for sure. So, but, hey, to each his own. I'm a live and let live person. And, but I just don't understand the obsession. I don't understand, like, nobody's going to tear his channel down. Nobody's going to make him less popular. I mean, some of the most hated celebrities are still rich and famous, and I mean, look at Red Viking. I think he had 20,000 subscribers when everybody tore into him. Now he's over 60. And, you know, and with Red Viking being a narcissist, he loves the attention, positive or negative. He loves that attention. And the whole bounty house conspiracy and all that did was give him content. And everybody else content. And that's the name of the game, right? That's what YouTube is about. It's about content, right? Yukon says, I didn't jump on the bandwagon. I was calling Coach Luz before it was cool. I did a live feed about 5 years ago, back when he was at Traveloco, yelling at him because at that time, him and Lil Dog and Lil Guy were, Traveloco was the thing. They were getting everybody over there, and the Schneider guys were jumping over there. I mean, I know so many Schneider guys that went over there, Yukon included, that literally within a year weren't there anymore. I think the only Schneider guy, there's 2 Schneider guys that I know that I ran into. One that was still at Traveloco, still doing okay, and then Big Face Trucker, he went and got his own numbers. So, but the reason why I tore into him is it was before the YouTube drama thing was a thing, right? And that was normally not my MO. But I had Schneider guys literally calling me saying that, well, Coach says that if Schneider's new app is going to keep you from being able to book loads while going down the road, or they're going to tap into your pictures and see your nude pics and all this. I mean, people were legitimately calling me, asking me these questions. So I kind of lost it and went live about it. You know, and that's the thing with live feeds. You get upset about something, you really can't take those words back, especially even if you make the video private. Somebody out there recorded it or downloaded it, you know, and you know, so a lot of times it's not worth it to say anything. And you know, and what Coach does with GP Transco, I mean, if he's making, what was it, 1,200, and in one of the live streams he said that he's had 12 people referrals. Well, 12 times 1,200, it was like, I think, well, maybe it was 1,600. Either way, it was like, it came out to like $14,000. And so, yeah, if that's his job and he's making $14,000, hey, more power to him. The problem that we have in society today is that we put too much weight on what other people say. You want to learn about trucking, you have to learn from real life experiences. Talk to people that are out here. Talk to the person sitting next to you at the truck stop. Talk to the person on the CB radio that looks like he's been out here a minute. Talk to your friends, you know, and learn as you go. There's not a one size fits all formula. There's not a one master of all kind of thing. And I think that the name is a lot to do with it. I know Jeff gets a lot of crap because he was nicknamed the Godfather, which he did not name himself that. That was the name given to him by all the Schneider guys on Periscope back in the Periscope days. And it just kind of stuck, and that's what he did. So, you know, but when you have someone new to our little niche or little scene here, they don't realize that. You know, they don't realize the back history that Coach has had, or that Jeffrey Likes had, or Jeffrey Like versus Trucker's Coach, or Trucker's Coach versus Trucker Revelation, and Jeffrey Like versus Trucker Revelation. I mean, you know, there's all this drama from years past that has already happened, you know, and it just renews itself every year over something. In my opinion, there are bigger things to worry about. There are bigger things that you need to focus on, and you can't, if one person says one thing and you got to do it that one way, don't take their word as gold. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's Coach or me or even Jeffrey Like. You got to do your own research. You got to, like, fit what works for you. What works for me may not work for you. What works for Jeff won't work for me. What works for Coach may not work for you, you know, and it's all part of, you know, and so to waste time talking about one individual over and over and over, it's like it borders obsession. It borders it's obsession, and I don't get it, you know. And I've never been a fanboy of any one particular person, even in the music world. There's not one musician or one band that I just, well, Iron Maiden, they can do no wrong, but I don't sit there and like obsess in everything that they do. I don't obsess in, you know, what did Bruce Dickinson have for dinner tonight, you know, and all that kind of stuff, which some people do, you know. So that's my 2 cents about the whole Coach, GP Transco, YouTube stuff. They do their channels, and that's fine. It doesn't matter to me, because I've got other things that I'm worried about. I got other things that I'm trying to focus on, and I just don't get the obsession. I just don't get it. So let's see here. We got everyone loves the train wreck, says Richard Head. Self-inflicted punchy bag. Let's see. You're here watching me, John. I appreciate that. Arizona has 0 cell service. That is true. Old fat white guy, what's up? Just crunch the numbers. If idling used less than 4 gallons of fuel and you idle 265 days a year, it's cheaper to idle even at $3 fuel. On the Kenworth, when you idle the truck, on these new DEF trucks, you have to bump up the idle, okay? When you bump up the idle, you got to be around 950 to 1,000, so it doesn't affect the after treatment. When you do that, you're going to burn about 1 gallon to 1.5 gallons an hour. That adds up. So if you idle for the whole time that you're sitting, which is a 10-hour break, that's $30 a night. If you're out 250 nights a year, that adds up. So if you do that math, 250 times 30, that's a total of 7,500 hours. That's dollars. So $7,500 a year in idling. But the thing that you have to wonder is, if you idle one of these DEF trucks, NOx sensors, DEF sensors, DEF filters, DPF filters, all of that costs money to maintain. And then the age of it ages your engine faster. So it's not just the fuel costs that you're saving on. Now, are you going to idle 10 hours every time you go to bed? No, but if you live in, say, Arizona, southern Arizona, and that's all you run, more likely, most times than not, you're going to idle. If you run primarily cold areas, you need to run the truck. So, you know, there's a balance there, but it's the wear and tear. That's the main thing of having an APU. I hate idling the truck, not because of fuel consumption, but because it's hard on the components, especially when you've got all these DPF related parts that can't be found in the country. Anthony Bressler, what's up? I like crunching numbers and would have thought they would price them to be competitive, but I guess I need to take into account the captive audience with the no idle states. Yep. Yeah, Smoothie just said what I just said. Well, he's probably said it before. I just now got to the comment. Columbia. I have no idea what that is. What did Bruce have for dinner tonight, by the way? I have no idea. Yeah, you know what? Look, I've done the low idle with my last truck, and it caused me a frozen fuel filter and like $700. That was a bad day. That was my first road side breakdown as an owner operator. It was very stressful. It was 30 below zero, and my truck's fast idle was turned off. I didn't think it was going to be a problem, so the next time I brought the truck home, I went ahead and had the idle bumped up. So, let's see. We got Nothing Witty. What's up? TJ says APU 1 gallon of fuel per 8 hours. Idling is a gallon an hour. I'm going to round that up. APU saves money, saves critical damage management bonus. Right. There we go. Let's see. John's back. How do you bump up the idle? John, when your truck is idling, take your cruise and act like you're setting your cruise, and it should jump up the RPMs. If you can't do that, then you need to get that adjusted. Let's see. Word on the street, our medical cards could be affected by the mandate. Thoughts? Okay, Rick, here's the deal. Asian My Show did a video about another YouTuber that said that. And there is nothing in any regulation that says anything about the VAC related to the medical cards. When you have as much, you got to realize that the things that the president said the other night, it was a test, right? They're not going to completely push the boundaries past 0.0 right at the beginning, right? They're going to do some gradual, things. That's why they, said 100 plus, employee companies, right? And right away, all the mega carriers in the trucking industry told their employees not to worry about it because they're going to fight it. Everybody's going to fight it. And so the government is going to do little by little to see how much pushback there is. And if it ever comes to that you need that card to buy food, that's when you need to have a revolution. That's when it's time to get the, whatever that you've been stocking up for the last 2 years because of all the fear-mongering channels you watch, and get ready to try to do something. Push back, So, but that was a rumor. If you go to a clinic and they say that you have to have that card to get a medical card, leave the clinic. And the mega carriers will support you. As of right now, Snyder included, right? So, I wouldn't worry about it. Was looking through some of your old Landstar videos. Seems like such a long time ago. There should be only one Landstar video up, unless you got access to all the videos I deleted. But yeah, I mean it does seem such a long time ago. If you go to Tex Crowley's channel, I'm Life of a Trucker number 7, and you can see my old truck, my old trailer, and my fat self, and doing all the dramatic filming and all that. That was a good day. That was a good day. We were in Tex was still driving a truck at the time, and he mounted a GoPro on the end of his trailer, and that's how he got some of the driving shots that he got. And it was crude but effective. I remember we were coming into the TA in New Braunfels, and he gets on the CB, and we're on a private channel, and he goes, all right, get really, really close, like uncomfortably close, because he needed a close-up of my truck, just kind of driving. He got me backing up, and he got me checking my tires with the tire thumper. It was a fun day. Tex Crowley is a good dude. Anytime that I hang out with him, we talk for hours about everything. It's awesome. He's a great guy. Yeah, the states are fighting back. Missouri's one of them. A lot of the red states are going to fight that tooth and nail. And, so I know that Coach was talking about earlier, like, what will you do if they do mandate it through the medical card? And I've said time and time again that you have to always have a backup plan. If you don't want to get the stick, then have a backup plan. That's all there is to it. And what does that backup plan consist of? Right now we've got really good rates, and you need to be stacking money. You don't need to be buying anything major. and stack that money, because it could be a long, cold winter. You never know. Or it could be nothing. We'll see. Truck for Life, what's up? I think it's even better if your company is based in a red state, because they will fight all the mandate. Right. And if they push too far, it's only going to cause them to lose the next election. You know? So it's there's a balancing act when it comes to mind control. There's a balancing act when it comes to controlling the population. I mean, that's all there is to it. Am I worried? No. And part of that is because I have a plan. The other part of that is you got to have faith. You got to have a little bit of faith to, it's all part of the game. It's all part of the game of life. And while everybody's freaking out on the state of our country right now, if you go to places like Australia, France, Italy, they're in much harsher conditions than we are over this whole vid thing. So. And in the similarities to the party in Germany from World War II, I'm trying not to say certain keywords for the AI. If you look back through history, I'm trying not to sneeze here. When you look back through history, what you're seeing is not. Yes, you're seeing methods related, very similar to what the End Party did in Germany, right? But that is a process that's been used by every regime change in the history of man. So, I'll be right back. I'll be right back. Don't go away. Alrighty. That was my impression of James Best. Hope you enjoyed. Yeah. Maybe I don't need another one of these. Let's put some water here. I've been kind of dehydrated here lately. I forgot to put water in the cooler so it's warm. He knows he's screwed on the second term, so he's trying to see what he can get away with. Jacob E. Yeah, that's I don't know. I've completely lost faith in the election, so I've seen online there are people saying the government is going far enough. These people live in a whole different reality than me. Yeah. Imagine the states will unfortunately lose those lawsuits, but even if they mandate it for medical cards, just go local till they perfect the shot. Well, you can't go local. Medical card is a medical card. If you have a Class E CDL, which is only answering some extra questions, you still have to have a medical card. So, the only job that you don't have an official DOT medical card is a school bus driver in the state of Missouri. They have their own inspection or physical that they do. And at least in Springfield public schools they did. And so the first summer, after my first year being a school bus driver, I wanted to do some side work during the summer so I can help pay the bills because I was off. So I signed up for a Class E job, even though I had a Class B CDL. And they asked me, where's your medical card? I'm like, well, I passed the DOT physical, yeah, but where's your card? I don't know, for a Class E job, you need, yeah, any kind of CDL from Class A to E, you need a medical card. So that local thing won't help unless you're doing Uber, Lyft, you know, something like that. Diesel Bros, yeah, there's a lot of guys that are on 1-year cards thanks to sleep apnea, like this guy. But I have thought about renewing my card early this year, so. Florida just won lawsuit against kids wearing masks to school. It's up to the parents if they want them to run. DeSantis won an excellent governor. Yeah, Florida is an interesting state. Class E, yes, Class E in Missouri. I miss the days of filling up my medical card at the truck stop parking lot. J.J. Keller was the best doctor. Yes. Depending on your state, in Missouri we have Class A, B, C, D, and E. E is basically your chauffeur's license. Now back in the day, that's all you had to do to drive a truck was get your chauffeur's license. DIY Semi, what's up? Good to see you in here. I don't think I've seen a video come across from you here lately. I do Uber and my Semi really freaks out to pick up. The last Uber I took, the guy told me how much money he made. He said during COVID world he did pretty good because they went from having like 20 drivers in the area to 3 because they all stayed home and didn't want to deal with it. So he had enough work for himself. So company will change their minds when loads get left at the docks, right? And that's the thing. With the mega carriers kind of fighting back. Now, granted, they're only 5 to 7% of the whole industry, but that kind of levels the playing field if you think about it, right? If you're a small carrier, like say, I don't know, like trucking, we've got 15 drivers, 16 drivers. Schneider, let's say Schneider says you got to get the stick if you want to stay signed on here, right? So they got 2,000 ICs, and all of a sudden 1,000 of them quit because they're not taking the stick. That severely reduces their leverage in the markets that they have contract freight in. That will upset the shippers, and that will raise rates for everybody, and companies like us will rake in those rewards. So I think a lot like Tyson originally said, the outside carriers were going to have proof of the jab or a clean test. Well, I think they've changed it. I could be wrong, it's just hearsay, but I think they've changed it to where you just got to stay inside your truck, which if you ever delivered at a Tyson plant, that'd be a huge favor to stay inside your truck. Do I have a bucket list, Jacoby? There's some places I'd like to see, but as far as like, there's 2 things. I would love to play a show in a crowd of like at one of these big music festivals, like for thousands of people. That'd be kind of cool. And I'd like to travel to like Norway and Sweden and some of the, you know, Scandinavian areas. And I think I would like to visit Australia once too. But Japan, I would love to see Japan, but beyond that, everything else I've done. So there's like one cool thing that I've done that is on a lot of people's bucket list. Oh, there's no D? Yeah, it's weird how they skip D. But you're right, Mike. A lot of people don't realize that, but a lot of the CDL is dependent on length too. That's what gets a lot of these hotshot guys. If they're over length and they only got like a Class E, then and where their length brings them to Class A, you can get in a lot of trouble. You said bucket list, not make a wish. No, I bucket list. I mean, there's just, I don't know. I'm pretty content in my life. You know, I live in a great, you know, area. I love the Ozarks. I've got a great wife. My kids are awesome. You know, we're you know, we're not looking to be millionaires, but we're not like in the poorhouse yet. You never know. I mean, you know, it could be one dumpster fire away from happening, but you never know. But, you know, as long as you got family and the love of your life and you got friends, man, you're always good, man. You're always good. What new truck am I wanting to buy? I would love to see the inside of the new 680s. I think they look pretty cool. It would be a cross between either the new 680 with the new hood style, the 860 Globetrotter Global, or, dare I say it, a W900. I like the W900s. I like how they look, but it's not practical in my business. So I like the Max, how they look on the outside, but I wasn't, the insides reminded me of the old Volvo 670s. And yeah. Jeff endorsed Cascadia as a Mac the other day. Sean, you know, the Cascadia thing is from a business standpoint, because there's more of those, more availability for parts, more people that can work on them. And then the Max, I think he just likes the Max, because him and Gear Driver almost bought a couple of them, but they decided not to at the last minute. Do you feel content, or do you wish you had more than what you have? I feel unaccomplished, so it'd suck if the world was ending right now. Jim, I think that's where faith has to come in. You really have to know inside what brings you contentment. You know, I have, you know, my wife is my soulmate. You know, and we've gone through our trials before in the past, but we're at a really good place in our relationship right now, and you know, I'm not a materialistic guy. You know, would it be cool to have like one of these new sports cars like the Hellcat or a Camaro or something like that? Yeah, but then that brings attention. I don't like attention. I say that as I'm talking to you on YouTube like a hypocrite, but I don't want to be the loudest guy in the room. I don't want to be the loudest car in the parking lot. I don't want to be the guy with all the shiny stuff, that, you know, you become the first target when things go south. I'm not really a materialistic person, you know, and it'd be nice to have where I didn't have to worry about money. You know, I didn't have to worry about inflation, or I didn't have to worry about not affording certain things or food, but, you know, but that's where planning and just observing and learning from your past. I mean, I've had a rough go round on a few things. I've had bad credit. I've had cards cut up, and, you know, I've had one car repossessed, you know, in the past, and, you know, we learn through our mistakes. You know, I've had bounce checks, and, you know, back, you know, my 20s, it was a rough time. I didn't control myself. I never got into drugs. For me, it was all about music and not accepting responsibilities of being an adult, and those were tough times. Now I accept that responsibility. I think the only thing that I think the main thing that I want to improve is my health. And those of you who've found my old videos, you've seen me improve my health quite a bit, but there's still a lot of work to go, and that's becoming harder and harder with the food that's available to us. And, you know, and I figured out that the more positive work I do with good intentions, and the cleaner I eat, and the more I accomplish, like little things, like making the bed and getting things done around the house that makes it easier for the wife and the kids, and accomplishing small goals throughout the day, which can be difficult when, like if my truck's down for a week at home, you got to have structure. If you're staying at home doing nothing, you got to have some kind of structure. You got to have some kind of schedule. And and I've got a lot of blessings, a lot of friends that I've surrounded myself with, and a lot of people that I've helped as well. I know people that have lost weight because of my videos. I know people that have become owner operators based off of my advice, and they're doing very well, if not better than what I'm doing. People keep bugging me to get my own authority, and I'm just not ready to do that right now. I've got a good thing here at Like Trucking, and why ruffle the waters? Rough the waters if there's so many other things to worry about. I mean, it's but I also have a realistic side. There's a little bit of darkness in me where, I can be hateful at times. I can be negative at times, but for the most part, if I was to die tomorrow, I would just say I did the best I could. That's it. Just bought a lottery ticket. Rick LP, the thing was with underground metal music, especially during the old days, like the early 80s, late 80s, in the thrash metal world, there wasn't a whole lot of, you didn't have the decadence that hair metal showed, right? Anthrax had like a whole anti-drug message that they had. Metallica had, Master of Puppets. It's about the dangers of cocaine addiction, Now, they were known for drinking heavily, but I'm the kind of guy, I don't even like taking Tylenol. There was one time where I got drunk before a band practice, and I did not like the feeling of not being able to play these songs that I could play in my sleep. And I didn't like that feeling of no control. And, and as time went on, when I was a welder, I was depressed about things, and I drank quite heavily at times. And, and I got tired of waking up having to make apologies, because when I've got a good rum drunk going on, I could be an ass for sure. I'm not violent, I'm not an angry drunk, but I could be annoying. So that's it. Maybe the angry trucker will go off about 680s. Yeah, I know he's not a friend of them or a fan of them. Being content is learning to appreciate what you have. There it is. That is what creates contentment, is faith and gratitude. You ever feel depressed? Look around you. What are you grateful for? Sometimes the only thing you can be grateful for is you're breathing air. You're alive. You're above ground. Sometimes that's the only thing you got, but it's still something. Gives you that little glimmer of hope that gets you through the day. I heard something interesting yesterday, but it's a long story. Remind me to tell you later. I can tell everyone, but it'll be in a handful of chat messages. Do you think trucks start bleeding to death at 5 years? Well, I got in a big discussion with James Best and Daniel Adami about my comment about trucks nickel and diming you after 5 years, and I still stand behind that comment. As far as bleeding you, it just depends on how well you've maintained it, what you put it through. I mean, I'm pretty easy on my truck. Now, this load I just finished, I had to haul heavy load through Branson, Missouri, which at one point I was in first gear. My truck did not like that. it coughed a little bit. But if you're constantly running mountains like that, or if you're constantly doing 75 miles per hour everywhere you go, your truck's probably going to react differently than, say, someone who babies a truck for 4 years and barely drives it. You know what I mean? So Tyson Foods did change. You have to stay in your truck. And you know what's funny is I do a lot of deliveries at Tyson, and they haven't said a word to me. They haven't. I show my paperwork. I write down my name and truck number, and then I go check into the office, and she says go back in the back and to dock whatever, and I'm out of there. You know, that's about it. So I checked out Lone Mountain periodically, and they just jumped their deposit to $30K in 2020. Their deposit was $14K. You're going to see a lot of that. When the market's like it is now, they want to make it harder for you to get a truck, especially when the demand is so high. Because the trucking market knows that when the market is really high like this, it's eventually going to drop, and they don't want to give a whole bunch of loans to people that can't afford their truck payments if the market drops. And that's kind of the reasoning by that. Low Mountain, you need a ridiculous... Low Mountain's for somebody who has ridiculous amounts of money but no credit. That's what they're designed for. But a lot of traditional, not all of them, but a lot of traditional commercial loans, they want to see how much money you got in the bank. They want to make sure that you can cover that first big repair if it comes along, and that's the whole purpose of that. It's like good karma. Logic Neo, what's up? South Australia reversed their mandate from the pushback to we the people have the power, we're not helpless. They want us to think that. And that's right, Southbound, I agree with you 100%. Skipping over some of these comments. Yeah, write a gratitude list. That is absolutely true. That's something I started to do. Now I just do it every morning. As I'm doing my pre-trip, that's where I go over all the things, and when I go to bed at night. And so it's really helped my depression that I used to fight all the time. That and my diet. What about no money and good credit? Ghost Cat, that's how I started my business. I only put $2,000 down on my first truck. It was funny as the bank said it should have been $4,000, but they didn't tell me that after we signed the paper, so they ate the other $2,000. And I had one credit card with a $20,000 limit. That could have ended really badly. I got lucky because I didn't, and the idea was, stay out until I had $10,000 in the bank, but I just never could get above that number. And then one day the turbo went out and I had to put that on the credit card, and I was playing catch up ever since because I wasn't disciplined enough. I wasn't running good enough. I wasn't making good decisions. And just recently I paid all that off, all the business debt that I've had. So we're learning as we go. But there's arguments. James Best will say that you need credit. Cash isn't important. It's not king. And then you got cash as king that will tell you the exact opposite. For me, the answer is both. You need good credit and you need a good cash stash, because you don't want to be paying your household bills on a credit card if you have a major breakdown. Hey, I didn't hear your thoughts on New RMA. We'll get to that here in a second, John. That's a good question. Thank you. I have a friend trying to get a truck from SFI a couple of months ago, and they were charging $5K. He said they're down to $1K now. Wow. There's only one place where I have to stay in my truck to get unloaded after I take all my straps off my load first. Where were you 20 years ago on this day? I was a welder at Tracker Marine, and we went to our first break and we heard the news, and I thought they were kidding. And so we turned on the TV in the break room, and we were just wide-eyed and just silent. And so the big bosses at Tracker Marine, through the whole company, they were at a boat show. They were stuck at an airport in Florida, because they were doing this boat show that was on a cruise ship. Imagine that, to show off the new Tracker Marine boat models. And so it was very relaxed. There was no quota for the factory, you know, that I was in. And I just remember surrounding the radio when the towers fell. And we went home. I went home and I was glued to the TV for like a week. Just completely glued to it. Totally in disbelief. And, you know, but what felt good was September 12th. And how the country was unified. You couldn't find a flag to save your life. Everybody was flying little flags on their cars, and everybody was saying, "We will unite it," you know, and everybody was hurrah, you know, yay for America. Let's defeat this enemy. If the same thing was to happen today, I'm afraid that it wouldn't be the same. And that's by design, by the way. Oh, okay, so the new Iron Maiden. John asked about the new Iron Maiden. So, I put a review up on Facebook and on the community page of YouTube. It's a grower, not a shower. That's kind of what I wanted to call it. It's a slower paced album. But if you look as a musician, the different textures I really appreciate. In Yukon, if you're still in here, I'm curious to know what your take on Iron Maiden, the new Iron Maiden, is, if you've heard it. And my favorite song though is "Writings on the Wall," and if you read the lyrics to that song, it really kind of explains what's going on in today's world. So, and the video is really cool too. But I like the new Iron Maiden. I'm digging it. I love the artwork. I'm going to try to get a new flag for the back with the new album cover. That's what I want. So, you watched it on a Diner TV. Taco was in El Paso, just turned solo for Transport America. Pale Rider says he was trucking in North Carolina. I heard the news from John Boy and the Billy Show. Mr. Somewhere, what's up? So, you know, and I'm really, you know, I was really, you know, they were talking, the FBI was talking that they expected something big to happen in the country for the 20th anniversary, like something negative, but I'm glad, you know, we're almost done with the day, and everything seems to be fine, knock on wood. So, nobody is older than Pale Rider. Donnie Luke, yeah, Eddie does get better with time. Well, I gotta give it up for Swift. He backed in correctly. It took him a year, but he did it. Now I just gotta fill this spot to my left and we'll be good to go. But I like the new Iron Maiden. It's good. There's a couple of songs on there I kind of skip over, but I like the first three songs the most, I think. So, did he get out and look? No. And you know, now I'm looking at the truck. It's a power only deal. It's another company pulling a Swift trailer. The other day I saw a load delivering at Walmart, and on the special instructions it said no Amazon trailers. I thought that was interesting. Amazon and Walmart are mortal enemies, and so if you're doing a power only, and you're using a loadout trailer for Amazon, which is probably what was happening, Walmart doesn't want it on their property with their product. So, yeah, John, that's one of the best things about Iron Maiden is the artwork. I mean, I've thought about getting an Iron Maiden tattoo somewhere, but you know, maybe that will still happen. And this album cover might be the one to do it. So, you were stuck in traffic on I-24 in Tennessee. I'm really glad I wasn't a truck driver during 9/11, because like I said, I was glued to the TV. It was, you know, my dad, growing up, my dad used to watch a lot of Vietnam War documentaries and World War II war documentaries. And now he was in Vietnam, but he didn't see a lot of the action that a lot of the other guys did. In World War II, my grandfather was in Europe. And so, you know, and of course, my grandfather died when my dad was like 8 years old. So, you know, my dad really didn't know him. So, excuse me. So so he would just get kind of, not ate up, but he, you know, it would be a definite interest. That's what 9/11 was for me. I saved a lot of pictures. I saved a lot of articles. When the documentaries roll every year, I like watching them because it puts you in reality. I remember the thing I remember the most after the initial shock of the event was that you could look up in the sky and know that you weren't going to see a plane. Like, they grounded every plane in the country. And that was freaky. I mean, that's what the world was like, you know. And what's funny is all the executives at Tracker Marine, they were stuck at the airport and they had to rent a car to get back to Missouri. And my mom had to take a Greyhound bus because she was in Oregon at the time. So, back to Springfield. So it was a weird time for sure. And Slayer came out with the album God Hates Us All, which I imagine was a very interesting soundtrack to the whole scenario. I was still in high school, but I was on a plane in the Middle East 2 years later. My favorite Iron Maiden album was the cover was the Killers album. I wanted that as a tattoo. You and like 5 million other people. That's cool. You should do it. And Walmart said if you have a contract with them, you can't do Amazon, or they were trying to push it that way. Yeah, but like, for example, Schneider does a lot of Walmart, but they also do a lot of Amazon, or they used to. Before Amazon bought all those trailers, they were utilizing Schneider quite a bit. So they weren't getting too picky. I mean, you get your freight how you get your freight. I can understand not wanting the Amazon logo on your property, but at the same time, you know, and that's the thing with the metal card thing. You know, do they really want an even more of a driver shortage? So, but here's the thing. So, what everybody should be concerned about, what the government should be concerned about, is why is there such a backlash? Why is there so much distrust? They should be doing an all-out campaign on giving you trust that the product works, right? But they're not doing that. They're either forcing or they're bribing. You know, I saw a video clip of one of the higher-ups in New York eating a cheeseburger and going, "You can get this if you get the stick." Like, really? I mean, they talk to us like we're 5 years old. You know, that's how you bribe. Hey, if you eat your vegetables, you can have dessert. You know, it's like, it's the same concept. You know? And small businesses are going to be afraid to mandate it because they can't get employees enough as it is. You know, and Sean Baker today was talking about, on YouTube, he's a carnivore guy, he's a doctor. He was talking about how there's a huge shortage in the medical industry right now because of the mandates. There are some hospitals that have like highly reduced staff. So where there's smoke, there's fire, and you have to wonder why they're not doing anything about that fire, other than saying, if you talk bad about it, your ass is grass. But will make us trust it. Show us proof that it's good. Show us proof that, you know, because the numbers that Biden said during the speech the other night didn't even add up. That's how dumb they think Americans are. That's how dumbed down most people have become, is they didn't do the math during the whole thing. It was outright, like, it was atrocious. It was scary, to be honest with you. It made me like kind of go, wow, okay, so we're doing this now, okay. You know, it's kind of like something you'd see from an 80s dystopian futuristic film, you know, like RoboCop or something. It's just, what, you know. Yeah, 20 years did go by fast. By the way, you can find some Iron Maiden autographed guitars. TM, I had a Lita Ford autographed BC Rich, and it was probably nothing against Lita Ford, but it was probably a factory second that was given away as a radio station promotion. But sometimes autographed guitars aren't worth the wood that they're written on. However, if they are, you don't want to play out with it, right? So, you know, it just becomes kind of an eye candy piece. So, and you know, and besides, if Iron Maiden does sell autographed guitars, Jeff just went live, so he's stepping on me now. They're Fender guys, and I'm not a big Fender fan, so now if one of them gave me an autographed Fender, I'd be like, hell yeah, I love Fender. But beyond that, I'm not going to spend money for it. One of my favorite album covers is No Prayer for the Dying. Yeah, Donnie Luke, there's not a bad album cover that I can remember. Well, you know, I don't like the Blaze Bayley albums. I haven't even listened to them. I can't stand Blaze Bayley's vocals. So the 2 albums that they put out. But, you know. No, he doesn't watch me. You know, Kirk Hammett's with Gibson. Yeah, I think I saw that announcement. I like some Gibsons. I really want an Explorer, and I was going to buy an Explorer, and I didn't do it at the last minute because I was broke, primarily. But a true Gibson Explorer at that time was only $550. Literally 2 years later, that same guitar was like $1,500. Now, that same guitar is like $3,000. And it's not even the same quality as 20 years ago. So I really regret not getting that Explorer. But Explorer is the only Gibson that... I did have a Les Paul Epiphone Gothic, which is the flat black. That was all right. But I really wanted a Gothic Explorer. But I need another guitar like I need a hole in my face. So. Dude, I saw a weird Gibson. I wonder if I took a picture. I wonder if it's on this phone. Check this Gibson out. Check this out. That is a Gibson. Of course, that was a Guitar Center, and it was up high, but they got to get the ladder to get it. I've never seen that before. And then I was glad that this was up high because they had a really good BC Rich Mockingbird. I really wanted that guitar as well. So, luckily for me, they put those guitars up high so I'm not tempted. That's why I don't walk into tool stores anymore, because I'm always tempted with something. I'm not a huge Les Paul fan as far as the body style. That Gothic black Epiphone was decent, but I'm a sharp guitar guy. I'm a sharp. It's got to have pointy, sharp things. It needs to look like it could be a weapon, right? And that's just me. I'm just that guy. If I had a dream, someone's asking, if I'm content, if there's things that I want. One of the things I would like to have is that BC Rich put out a Mark Rizzo signature 7-string Stealth. If I could get one of those, that would be sweet. But, and then there's a Chuck Scoldinger model stealth out there. I believe I would like to have one of those too. So, anybody who's watching, there's my wish list. They've signed a lot of new artists. They've done Dave Mustaine and Jerry Cantrell was another artist of late. Matt Stennett, what's up? Someone else came in here I didn't say hi to. And guys, don't be so sensitive if I didn't read your comment or if I missed you coming in. I apologize. Isn't that a weird guitar, Spoobie? Is that what the question marks are for? I didn't know. I've never seen that. So I took a picture of it. One of these days I'm going to be bored and I'll go down there and I was like, I want to look at that, please, and see how it plays. We've almost got the band room complete. Next time I'm home, I got to deal with the lighting and set up the PA, and then hopefully we'll start jamming. Have you ever seen that Moser Flying V that Sammy Duet has? Ryan Clark? No, but I've seen those Mosers. I have a friend of mine that's got a Bernie Rico, but you can't find those anymore. But yeah, anything, I would love to have something from Bernie Rico or Moser. Moser knows, I mean, when that guy passes away, man, that's going to be a sad day. Guitars won't be the same because that dude is awesome. We got to open up for Goat Whore years ago, and Sammy Duet had the loudest, heaviest guitar sound out of every band that we've ever played with, including Lamb of God. And they were the loudest band. They hurt my ears, and that takes a lot because I'm half deaf. And Sammy Duet is on my favorite Crowbar albums too. So, but yeah, that dude's rig is a monster. But I don't believe he had that Moser when we played with him. Yeah, Matt, there might be some music on the horizon. It is. That's what it is. They took the V part and they just reversed it. I had a chance to get an autograph of Zakk Wylde, Randy Rhoads Jackson, Black Label Society. TM, if you follow Steve Berger at all, I don't think he's ever shown he's got an awesome guitar collection, and he's a big Zakk Wylde and Dimebag fan, so he's got guitars related to those two guys. But I wish BC Rich would get in on some of the endorsement stuff. Get more artists playing their stuff. You know, and I stopped buying guitar magazines because it was always the same. You know, Jimi Hendrix or Eddie Van Halen, or you know, somebody that's like, you need to showcase the new guys that are doing something. Solar has some. Oops. I'm not sure what you're saying there, Ryan. Solar has some cool pointy designs now, just not quite pointy enough. Oh, okay. I think it's interesting when you go to a pawn shop and you find one of these off-brand sharp pointing guitars. Guitar Center had quite a bit of off-brand guitars. But anyways, guys, I think we'll just jump over to Jeff's channel. Oh, Crowbars with Solar now. Kirk is anyways. Dude, I'm a huge Crowbar fan. Finally, I've seen him twice. And Apnea almost got to open up for him. However, they changed their tour. We were slated. They were getting ready to send us the tickets so we can start selling. And we were the opening act. And I'm telling you, man, I was so stoked. And they canceled their tour so they could tour with COC, Corrosion of Conformity, and I was so just mad. So yeah, that bummed me out, because what they did is from their own tour they just went to a bigger tour, so Springfield always gets ignored on most of the time on bigger tours. So, but I saw him at Milwaukee Metal Fest, and then we saw him again up in Kansas City, and I got to talk to Kirk. I bought a hat. He signed the hat, and I talked to him and his wife, and one of the guys that I'm good friends with was a roadie for Kirk, and so like I thought he was just jiving me, and Kirk, he shows me all this stuff, and Kirk hanging out with him and everything, but yeah, Kirk's a good dude, and I think that if he saw me now, he'd be impressed with my beard, because he's known for a similar beard. So I would absolutely I would do everything in my power to be able to open up for Crowbar right now. But I don't know if I'll ever see that. So I guess there is still somewhat of a bucket list. So, wall hangers. Dean guitars was getting big, but they seem to be not too much anymore. John, Dean was a thing with, Dimebag kind of like resurrected the company with his endorsement, but after he passed away, they really didn't find anybody else to kind of like, Dimebag made that Explorer V his thing, and there's such a thing as having too much of a signature guitar. So if you're an original band and you want to be looked at as an original guitar player, I think it's tougher for guys if they're playing like the Dimebag guitar, and trying to sound like Dimebag. You kind of get lost in the shuffle. But I know Steve Berger's got a few Deans. I would like to try one of those higher quality Deans, but a couple of older Deans, they're all right, but they felt like a Gibson to me. I don't know what the newer ones feel like. I'm not a huge fan of the Gibson neck. So I used to be a regular at Dimebag's Club in Dallas. If you know, you know, right? Speaking of Crowbar, if you go to my old channel, type in Snorelord's old channel, backing in New Orleans. I do a backing video to some Crowbar music. So it was like 10 years ago, 10 or 12 years ago, something like that. Crowbar's another band that can do no wrong. So Alvarez. There was one electric Alvarez I really liked that I almost bought, and I like their acoustic electrics. I like Alvarez. Alvarez isn't bad. I like Ibanez too. When it comes to bass playing, I am all about Ibanez. Ibanez is about the only bass I'll play. So I had I had one Ibanez bass at one point, and then we had a second one that my wife and I kind of shared. It was my wife's bass, but we kept it as a backup when I joined the band as a bass player. So and Tama is my favorite drum set, by the way. So. Ernie Ball has a bass? I didn't know that. Ibanez makes good lower price value basses. Like Fender basses are huge. Like you got to be like a monster to be able to play one of those things. But Ibanez basses are generally smaller, lighter, faster. So, Steve Berger, I was just talking about you. I have a Spectre bass, great bass, but kind of heavy. John, aren't Spectres kind of pricey? We played with a band called Low 12 back in the day that the bass player used a Spectre bass, and I think that's what Jason Newsted was endorsing for a minute when he was in Metallica. No, it was good. We were talking about guitars. I was talking about your awesome, Dean collection that you have and the Zach Wild stuff you got. Not too much detail, but I said you were a fan. We were talking about guitars for a minute. Jeff went live and took half my people, so there's that. But I need a good acoustic. I've got a Warlock acoustic that looks cool, but it doesn't sound good. And I tried plugging it in the other day, and the pickups don't even work in it. But it's intonation and it's all messed up. I would like to have a good quality. I like skinny body acoustics. I'm not into the fat. As a fat man playing a fat acoustic, it's not comfortable. Washburns, no Deans. I'm sorry, I got them mixed up. See, if you're in here earlier, he could have corrected me earlier instead of letting me talk for 10 minutes like a dumbass. Thanks, Steve. Thanks a lot. But Steve Berger knows his guitars. He's a better guitar player than me. And he knows his stuff better than me. But I hope to someday jam in the band room for you guys. So they make a Legacy, which is cheaper bass. They start around $600. I didn't know that. That's cool. I would like to try one of those then. I just picked up a low-end Washburn acoustic from Guitar Center for just north of $300, but it sounds great. Tuners are junk as expected, but sounds really good. Well, that's cool. What's interesting is that the Joplin Petro, they don't sell them anymore, but they were selling acoustic guitars in there. And they actually, Dooner Livingston, he's a really good guitar player, and he did a video of him playing one of those, and they actually sounded pretty good. I played one at the store. I had to tune it, though, because obviously a truck stop employee is not going to know how to tune a guitar, for the most part. But they actually weren't bad, but they were just kind of pricey for the quality you were getting, so I didn't buy one. Washburn acoustics are pretty good. The USA guitars are awesome, at least they used to be. Ronald Dump, where were you on September 11th? Were you driving a truck? No, I wasn't. Neat name, by the way. No, I wasn't driving a truck. I was a welder for Tracker Marine. I went over that earlier in the video. Listening to the radio in the break room, we got the TV going to watch everything, and then as soon as I got home from work, I was glued to the TV for a week. So, and to this day, I still like, every now and then I'll get on a YouTube binge or a Netflix binge of 9/11 stuff, which is probably what I'll end up doing tonight. My first guitar, John, was a Yamaha electric guitar. But I do need to get a good acoustic. Acoustic electric, skinny body acoustic. Like I said, I'm not... Washburns are good for that too. Washburn and Alvarez. So, anyways, guys, I think I've ran out of things to say. I think I've said it all and said nothing at the same time, which is what YouTube's all about. It's about the echo chamber. But I appreciate coming in. I appreciate every single one of you. Don't freak out of what's going on in the country. Don't freak out. Don't believe everything you hear on the interwebs. Do some fact checking. Don't get all your news from Facebook. I'm going to have to criticize RD a little bit, but RD this morning was talking about complaining about people only getting their news from Facebook. And so I asked him what a good independent news source was, because he said you got to find independent news sources, and he said he didn't know. So I thought that was interesting. You know, don't let headlines freak you out until you know the whole story. I think that's the gist. And no, not right. You don't need a card for your medical card right now. So, anyways, guys, thanks for watching. I appreciate every single one of you. Be safe, be good. Don't be obsessed in other YouTubers. And take care of yourself and take care of each other. Peace.